Okay, let's talk about that, right? So in the beginning, right, there was Richard, right? He was validating 4,000-ish validators. What's happened?
Yep. So yeah, in the beginning, there was 4,096. And those were the Genesis validators. Like, oh, like those are the holy ones, right? They were there in the beginning, like the Big Bang. They made the Big Bang, basically,
Right.
like the fork from Ethereum. So when Richard did that, those 4,096 validators, he just invented the pulse out of them. He didn't like put it in. They just like clicked a button and there it was.
Right.
So that's how it started. So then that night, when Richard's like, "Oh my God, we're live," me and a bunch of my clients, and I was on like calls all night. We were setting up our validators, and we were joining the network. And Richard's original servers were giving us the blockchain, and that was going on for days. More and more people were joining, and Richard is serving us the blockchain. And now we download it, and now we share it. So now it's been a month, and now there was like over 20,000 validators. So Richard said, "Okay, everybody, there's enough validators out there in the world. I'm done." And he exited his validators, which shuts them down. And then all the pulse that he mined and all the original pulse that was inside of him went to a burn address, and it's gone now. So Richard's out. Richard's not validating. He's done. And now Pulse Chain is 100% pure decentralized across the globe. And it's just people like me and all the other validators out there just running the computers. We did it.
So it's now community run completely.
Yeah. This is good for like security purposes too, because now Pulse Chain is fully decentralized. Nobody's running it on some company server somewhere. Nice. It's over. We're free now. Yeah, you can't stop Pulse Chain now. It cannot be shut off.
Oh, you hear that, Blockbuster? We're not running it on the server anymore. So those 4,000 now. Okay, like I want to get the pros and cons of this a little bit, right? You think it would have been better if the validators stayed on? Obviously, I know why they were turned off. There's good reasons for them, Richard turning it off, and for it to be like, for the rest of the community to take over, right? But you think it would have been better for them to have stayed on and just kept burning the supply they were creating and stuff just because it has a burn feature? Or do you think it's just better that obviously all that supply, that's a lot of Pulse Chain. That's a lot. 4,000. That's a lot of Pulse Chain. So that's burned. Awesome. Less supply. But and it was also, but now there's more yield for everybody else as well, right? Like, yeah,
it's a double-edged sword.
Yes,
because you got to trust the validators now. Because basically Richard gave up 20% of the validators, so he was getting 20% of all the yield. Well, now that extra 20% is going all to all the normal validators out there, and that's just people like me and you, and we're just normal plebs. So regular plebs have cabbage hands, so they sell. So yeah, it's that it is 20% extra pulse that's not being burned. So that kind of stinks. But if you're a validator, it's good. That means we all get more rewards. Ever since Richard turned off his, we've all gotten an increase in payout, which is awesome. And every validator I know, like literally everyone, and I know hundreds now, they're all restaking. We save all of our yields, like all of our pulse. You get paid out like every 3 hours. It just goes right into your MetaMask. When you have a validator liquid, you don't have to click a button. You don't have to claim nothing. It just magically shows up. Every validator I know is taking all of that and making more stakes and making more validators. So
more T-shares.
Yeah. No validator that I know is selling for profit or just trying to break even. Nobody.
Let's call them V shares. V shares.
I like that.
Yeah, let's call them V shares. There we go. Shing.
Yep.
Coined. David Fetter now owns 50% of the patent.
I like it.
V shares, right? So everyone's just creating. That's really cool. And then you obviously are looking at the system. So most people are doing that and stuff. And I would do that the same thing as well. Like because there is something like get them right now where they're cheap, right? Because it's like if it's
eventually once you won't be able to afford it. Once PulseX does a 10x, now it's not $3,000 for a V share. Yeah, Pulse Chain. Yep, sorry.
No,
once it 10x's, now it's not $3,000 to do a Pulse Chain stake. Now it's $30,000. Now it's half an Ethereum validator. That just reduces the amount of people that can do it. And let me tell you a lesson from like 2016. Dash used to be $7, and you needed 1,000 Dash to put in a master-node.
Right.
I didn't have $7,000. I was too poor. I was just, I was in my 20s. Like I was just a kid. Dash went to $1,000 each, so that master node would have been $1 million. I should have just taken out a credit card. I should have done whatever I could to get that $7,000
bucks. We can't say this, you guys. We can't.
Like I knew back then though. Like this is the story. Like this is the moral of the story. Is like I knew that something like that was going to happen, and I just didn't have the power to do it. And I learned from that lesson, and that's why now I'm, the number one pulse chain validator. That's why this is my obsession now, because I learned from the past.
That's beautiful, right? Obviously, I am saying still have some liquid.